Everyone is talking about the real estate bubble all the time, and we published just recently many videos on the German Real.estate channel, and I'm saying all the time that I'm very skeptical about the real estate bubble, at least here in Germany. In other countries it may be different for various reasons, but at least here in Germany I'm skeptical that prices will crash down completely. But you're the expert, you're a property developer. How do you see German real estate in 2023 and maybe beyond? Are we in a bubble?
First of all, I don't think we are living in a bubble because we have so many factors which make it a bubble or not in this case. So if we go back to 2007, 2008, when the huge real estate crash happened, we had a completely different situation. And of course, the banks and the financial regulations, they learn from this, and we have now, in our opinion, a much more stable and regulated real estate market in terms of, from the bank side, giving loans and checking on people, are they solvent enough to buy the apartment or property or whatever. So first of all, I think this dramatically changed in a positive way. On the other side, we have so many factors on a macroeconomic side. We have so many people coming to Germany, want to live there. We mentioned it from Ukraine, of course, and other countries. We have a huge demographic change. So we are getting older, we are living longer. So the demand on real estate is different now. So, and this is my point, which I think we are not living in a bubble because we have to really look on the asset class. We can't compare a new construction with a building from 1995 or 1970 or whatever, which are completely different in how they have been built. Of course, main point is energy efficiency building. So in new construction, we are pretty sure there is no bubble happening in the next 2 years, because people are looking for alternatives. They have the base rent, then they have the additional costs, which now doubled because of the huge gas and oil prices. So this overhead costs are the new basic rents in the future. So in new constructions, if they have, of course, a higher basis rent, but lower extra costs, so people say, okay, I can calculate with this. I really like to live in a new construction, not in an old building where I have problems with heating. So we really have to have a look on different asset classes, and therefore I think it can happen that there is a bubble in for example, in regions of Germany where old buildings without any efficiency standards are still available, and this can happen. But I don't think in the top 7 cities or around the metropolitan regions where we are doing our constructions, I don't think there is any bubble.
You mentioned energy efficiency, and especially for new buildings, and the government is extra supporting actually that people invest into new properties, because the depreciation for properties that will finish in 2024 and beyond basically increased by 50% from 2% to 3%. So the government is actually incentivizing to keep real estate pretty stable.
Correct. I mean, it's absolutely right what you say. We have political support for new constructions, or we should to have it in the future. We have a green government which wants to be zero CO2 neutral, basically, and therefore the real estate market has to get some benefits to do new constructions. I mean, the real estate market is emitting 40% of the carbon dioxide in Germany, so it's a huge impact. Therefore, we need to do something in the future. It starts with renovating old buildings and doing refurbishments, etc. But also from the new construction side, with higher costs for material and new constructions, we need to have some subsidies from the state.
And we need it, right? Because Germany needs 400,000 flats roughly each year. And we don't know the number from last year just yet, but the expectation is 260, 270 something. So we didn't even reach it close, we have a huge backlog of constructions.
Correct, and now this year, 2022, we experienced a lot of holdbacks of new constructions. There were less permits for new construction handed in. So, and this is like the wave we will see the wave a little bit later. So in a few months we will feel it, that there will be less construction. So we need to do something in Germany to reach our goals, what the government prognosed with 400,000 apartments in new apartments.
I mean, we have been talking about this topic of a bubble, not just in real estate, but all asset markets for years. I think it was at one point in time inevitable that there would be some correction. I don't think this is a phenomenon that we will only see or that we are only talking about in real estate. I think we see it in other markets. First of all, not only also other asset markets, but also other geographic markets. And so some correction in the market is something that was expectable. With respect to the German real estate market, I think, as Tobias also mentioned, I think we have to look at really the concrete geographic market and also the asset class. There are definitely differences. I think all markets will be impacted to some extent, but I think we will definitely come back to some more of the elementary basics of economics, which is supply and demand. And I think markets that have low supply and high demand will definitely come out of this crisis better, and maybe even with more opportunities for developers and also real estate investors that find solutions to problems that people need. And I think we always have to remember that housing and real estate is an essential need for people. And I think we serve this need, and I don't see any reason why in the future there should be any change in that. And so I think this is to answer the question about the bubble. I mean, we may have some temporary problems or, let's say, challenges that we have to face, but I think long term I see a lot of positive aspects in the market.
I like that a lot. That usually people say it's a bubble and it's gonna crash, and that always sounds spectacular. But what you're saying is that it's maybe a local correction, okay, but that's actually healthy, and the investors and the property developers and everybody involved in the real estate industry that will adapt can actually grow healthy again going forward.
Yes, I believe so 100%. And I also think that maybe the mindset of the developers has to change a little bit, and I think there are a lot of opportunities. If you just think about the topic that we have been talking about, I mean, when you look at when most of the buildings in Germany were developed, and I'm just talking about residential buildings, most of them were developed in the 60s and 70s, shortly after the war, when we had a big boom. And this is roughly 70% of all the buildings that you have. And in the last 50 years, the construction has been lower and lower. And in the last years, I mean, you mentioned this goal of the government to build 400,000 apartments each year. We didn't reach it in the last couple of years.
20 years actually.
20 years, yeah. So we were below this threshold, and I mean, it's safe to say that this 2022 and 2023 we safely won't reach this. So I think there's a lot of work to do, and I think also the old buildings will have to be refurbished and will have to be brought to a better energy efficient level. And I do believe that there's a lot of demand for developers who find solutions to the problems that we have in the market. And for that, I don't see a connection to a bubble or a market, because I think we as a developer also think about the product that we bring to the market. And I think there is a need for that. And we also talked about the people that are coming into Germany. We have a growing population due to immigration mostly. And so a lot of factors actually come together that are quite positive in the medium to long term. So we may have some challenges in the short term, but real estate is a long-term business anyway. And so I think for a developer who has a good grasp of the market and who provides good quality solutions, there's always a good opportunity, and this might be especially true in a crisis time.